Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pro Football Historian channel. I am your host, Flynn Gibbon. Let's start with the Saturday game since I talked about the Thursday games last week, which was the Browns and Packers. It was the first Saturday game. Um, the story of this game is obviously, I guess, Aaron Rodgers breaking the Packers' all-time touchdown record. But other than that, a lot of the main things were the turnovers from Baker Mayfield and obviously the sacks too. Green Bay had 5 sacks, 4 interceptions, and then the call at the end obviously was a big deal. A lot of controversy over that, and was it probably a hold or pass interference? Probably, but if you watch the NFL enough, for some reason late in the game, uh, the refs just don't call stuff. They call less of those kind of penalties, and I don't think it was so egregious like most people think. Like the initial contact, I think, was fine. I don't think that's a penalty. It's more the tug at the end by Rasul Douglas. And even then, there was other calls in the game that weren't called that were similar. So, I mean, that, at least they called it consistently. I know. And again, it didn't decide the game. The Browns would have been, I don't know, about midfield, maybe the 40. Still were not in field goal range. So, and you have to think about there was like 2 other chances the Packers had an interception they dropped. I'm not trying to defend the Packers. It's just how the game played. They didn't do much in the second half. I know their coaching staff and Aaron Rodgers said it was a little conservative, and I know one drive they did that because they had Ben Braden on left tackle, their fourth left tackle of the year, and they were trying to play around that. And I think they were going to learn from this, and also last week with the Ravens. It was 2 weeks, similar things happening. Even though it was maybe a different reason why it happened. But I guess the main concern also, Nick Chubb ran for a lot of yards, and really when he got tired, that's when they passed the Browns usually, especially at the end of the game. And Green Bay did fairly well against the pass. It's a couple of short throws, but nothing really deep. And Aaron Rodgers had a good game. I can't really say he missed any throws. And I know Devontae Adams also had a drop at the very end, which could have sealed the game basically. Um, So, Green Bay survives, you could say. They got 2 more games, Vikings and then the Lions. If they win both, they're definitely number one seed. They only win one. Uh, Dallas has a shot, I guess you could say, of being number one seed, possibly even Tampa Bay. So I think and I guess the Rams also have a shot. I don't think that's going to happen though. And for the Browns, it's the Raiders loss and then this is 2 close losses. Puts them in position they still can win the division. Still play, I believe, the Bengals in the last. No, they play the Steelers and then the Bengals. It should be correct. So they got Monday night against the Steelers, and then if they can win that game, which I think they're more talented team, but that's gonna be a tough game. They lost it already to them, 15-10, I believe, and then they got the Bengals, who they kind of destroyed. Really, it was kind of a tight game until a pick six by Ward, like 100 yards, 99 yards, something like that, 101. And he returned for a touchdown. That kind of opened the doors for the Browns to, you know, kind of win in a route. Let's move to the next Saturday game. Cardinals lose 3 straight. Colts still hot. Uh, a lot of injuries and COVID on both sides. Most of the Colts, though, they basically were playing with a whole backup line, kind of like the Packers have the last couple of weeks. And Jonathan Taylor, nothing, only one big run at the beginning of the game, and a lot of short runs, even some runs that didn't go for anything. Uh, though I thought Wentz played pretty good. Uh, did get pressured a lot. They just it was a gritty win. They just stayed in, fought hard, and Also, the missed kicks from the Cardinals standpoint really hurt him. And I don't want to put him really on Prater. It seemed like a holding issue. And if you're switching your holder, you're kind of blaming Colt McCoy. But either way, they couldn't make extra points and kicks until the very end, which is the reason why it wasn't even a closer game. Cardinals, and now the Cardinals are now in a wild card spot. They need help just to get back in to win the division, I should say, or be first place in it. And I don't really see that change. I know the Rams got somewhat tough teams coming up, but they're pretty good. I mean, they should win. Cardinals also got a tough game against the Cowboys this week. So we'll see from there. Moving on the next game. Try to go this game quick because I know the Falcons are still not eliminated, but I think they're pretty much done. They need a lot of help. But I say if Jared Goff plays this game, they probably win. And also, they made a few mistakes which just hurt them. And Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts, that was just the one difference in this game compared to the Lions. They didn't have that. Even though Amon St. Brown played well again. Pitts, 6 targets, 6 catches, 102 yards. Matt Ryan played fairly well. These teams are similar, like talent-wise. Atlanta has a little bit more talent, but the records don't show it. It's just kind of how the season's played out. But, I thought that the Lions played tough again. I wasn't really disappointed in how they played. Atlanta, came out with the victory, though. Moving on, Tampa Bay, Carolina. Again, Carolina, decent start, first drive. They get points. Could have also been a touchdown, I believe. I think this is the time where they came in and tried to throw the running back and he fell or tripped, something like that. I think that was on the first drive. Otherwise, alternating quarterbacks a lot of the game. And Cam Newton, the leading rusher, they just look. They're 2 quarterbacks for the leading rusher. Like this is this is the worst offense in the league, and they really shouldn't be with the talent they have, especially a wide receiver. But they got Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. Tremble seems like okay tight end. They got the one broken play, the Smith that went for 63 yards. Still couldn't even get a touchdown after that drive. Panthers defense, they're just on the field so much. It's hard to evaluate them. Like, they play great at times. Some games they give up 30, 40 points, but I don't know how much it's on them. Like, they're on the field all the time. They have probably no faith in offense scoring. And obviously, Joe Brady getting fired really hasn't changed much. Might even be worse, honestly. And I mean, obviously, they're going to have 2 more games with Panthers, and again, 1 more against the Bucs last week. So, we're going to have to see this ugly offense 2 more times. But I don't think they're that far away from being a really good team. If the defense is kind of there, they could even get better. And you just need to figure out who the quarterback is and find who the offense coordinator obviously is. I don't know. I doubt Matt Rule gets fired. I don't think he should. But you never know, he could. And for Tampa Bay, they get through. Vaughn finally having a big play in his career. He just had a rough start. Still wasn't perfect, but you even saw Le'Veon Bell getting action for -1 yard. And Ronald Jones, had consistent, didn't get anything big, but yeah, Tampa Bay did what they needed to. Turn around, looked pretty good. Grayson even looked okay for wide receiver. They should be fine. Moving on, Baltimore and the Bengals. Baltimore, I thought, played tough early on, and then it just kind of collapsed. It was kind of like the first matchup. Played it close, and then eventually just couldn't keep scoring and just kept letting up big plays to the Bengals. And the other story to get this game, obviously, is 525 yards from Burrow. I don't think they really were racking. People make it sound like they were just racking up yards on purpose. especially the last play, the Mixon, the catch. I think the design was just to get the first down and end the game, and it was covered, and he just threw to Mixon. I don't think you try to throw deep to Mixon when you're trying to get a big play. But again, that's another story. Ravens can't be mad about it. They've done it. They've done similar things before. And really, I think it's not that important. If the team wants to do it, it's at their own risk for injuries and stuff. If they want to, you know, I don't know, style points, whatever you want to call it. Either way, Ravens lost now 4 straight, which seems to like the Cardinals. I'm just making sure. Cardinals might have just lost 3. Either way, yeah, 3 straight, which could be 4 to playing Dallas. Um, Again, both were still alive. Everyone in the AFC North was still alive. Bengals are in the driver's seat, but they did play Cleveland, who did beat them before. And now they got Kansas City this week. Should be a good game, though. Talk about that later in the week. Chargers, Texans, obviously an upset. I know a lot of people will want to just say, oh, it's because of all the injuries, COVID. Well, the Texans didn't have Brandon Cooks, another player. So I think the main difference when you're talking about injuries and COVID is when it happens in the week. Because the team can prepare if they have time. And an injury or having a COVID to a player later in the week, you don't have the time and the preparation maybe for that. So you have to look at it each time, each injury and each COVID situation differently. You can't just say this guy they had 8 guys on COVID, this team had 7. I mean, it also depends when they get it and what the team can do to prepare without or with them, with the player. Either way, the Texans came out, ran the ball, controlled the game on the ground. Mills threw a couple of good passes. And that's the concerning thing. The Chargers, if you have any playoff hopes, obviously losing this game really tough. And you're letting a team like the Texans run the ball on you. I know that's been a weakness all year for the Chargers. They had a couple games against like the Bengals where they didn't have much issues, but it came back again. And now you lose the Chiefs in a close game, a game you probably should win. And then this team, a team that really has nothing to play for, but is coming out with their 4th victory of the year. And the Chargers now have a very slim shot at making the playoffs. And you could say probably don't deserve it after this. Rams Vikings, obviously, this game Stafford didn't play well, but they still came out of the victory. I guess the Vikings offense just couldn't do enough. They couldn't, take advantage of some of the turnovers, especially the short fields Stafford and the Rams gave them. Kupp again, another big game. He's on pace for maybe the best receiving season in NFL history, statistically. Even though I wouldn't say it is, but again, number-wise, it's going to be up there, if not the best. And again, the Rams ran pretty well. That's a good sign for them. And the Vikings, losing another game. Got the Packers. Packers are going to have some revenge on their mind. They're home. Sunday Night Football. Obviously the Vikings have won that game before and defeated them last year there and won a few weeks ago against the Packers. But they've always been close games. And I kind of expect that as well. But now you're behind the Eagles. You're still behind the Saints, even after the loss. Now you're hoping the Eagles lose 2 games, basically. Just have a shot, I think, at the playoffs. So Vikings are not in a great spot. Basically, we need to beat the Packers and the Bears. Teams they haven't always, consistently won or played well against. Obviously, the Bears even shut down the Vikings offense. So there's been a couple of bad weeks for the Vikings offense. Jefferson's still playing well, but other than that, not much else. And Cook, I don't think is going to be back either this week. Let's go to the Buffalo game. Really the difference was the quarterback play. Mac Jones did not play well. Again, another week. Obviously, he's a rookie quarterback. They had a good run game, and It just didn't matter. In this game, they needed to throw it, and they couldn't hide their quarterback like last game. Last time these teams played, not that they were hiding, but just didn't want to throw, didn't try to throw. And then in this game, they did, and it just didn't work. In this game, Josh Allen had maybe the best. Statistically, it doesn't look like the best because Joe Burrow, but Josh Allen played really well, maybe his best game of the year. I know this is the first game that Bill Belichick, as a coach, has never allowed. He didn't lead, the Bills didn't punt, or they never turned it over. So Bills always had to drive. They always either it was a fourth down stop. The one time I know they had to drop on the fourth down that stopped them, or they kicked field goals and scored touchdowns. It's the first time this has ever happened to Bill Belichick and the Patriots. But it was McKenzie had a good game when Cole Beasley out. And at this point, I think McKenzie needs these on the field. I think they need more speed and explosiveness from their team. And I don't think you need Emmanuel Sanders and Beasley on the field. Both very similar players at this point. And that's all I really have to say. And that's been the struggle for them when they have to throw it. They always want to throw it, obviously. But they just don't have they have Diggs, and that's really all. The receiver-wise, they're just overrated in terms of how good they are. Emmanuel Sanders at this point in his career, he doesn't separate well. And right now he's just an average player. Like he's fine as a third or fourth receiver, but not someone consistently you want to rely on. And Cole Beasley, I know he made the Pro Bowl, had a good year last year, but he's just an average slot receiver at it too. Josh Allen again leading the team in rushing yards. I think that they need to find something else in the run game, but I know it's not really their style, and they don't have the personnel really to do it. But if they can just get a little bit more from that run game, they'd be better off. The Patriots now don't have control of the division. Bills should win it. They got the Panthers and the Jets or something like that. Miami has the Pats have Miami and the Jags. So Miami game is kind of a coin toss kind of game. Jags they should beat, but the Bills should win their games and should be 11-6 and winning the division, putting New England on the road in the first week, possibly even against them. Should be a pretty cool playoff game. This game obviously known for the number one pick in the draft in Lawrence versus the number 2 pick in the draft in Zach Wilson. Now the Jets were out a lot of players, so they had the excuses about that, not having their best receivers out there. But again, Zach Wilson, I know stat-wise didn't look great, but look at the receivers he had on the field. Like, I like Keelan Cole, but he's almost like their 4th or 5th guy on this team. Berrios even getting receiver action, only at 37 yards. Like they had some good run game with Michael Carter, and Zach Wilson had obviously a 52-yard run as well. Coleman even had some action. He had some of the workload. But Zach Wilson just looked like the better player. Doesn't mean he will be the better player, but I'm more of a Zach Wilson guy than a Lawrence. I think Zach Wilson there's more wow plays from him. And he's looked pretty good since he's come back from his injury. I know stat-wise is not always great. It's just the team around him is poor, to say the least. But and look good. It's still they could have lost. Came down to the end. Obviously, pretty. They stopped the clock on 3rd down with like 19 seconds. It looked like a dumb mistake at the time, and it came back to haunt them. Obviously, they also see Mosley dropped the interception. They also had a 5-yard penalty at the 1-yard line. So Jags had their chances, and the main thing with Lawrence was at this point just not great from the pocket. I know he had a back and sack, which I think he fumbled. I don't know if he find it or not. Either way, fumbles. Yeah, I think it was one fumble loss. They ran back, almost like a Bob Greasy play. He just ran back and got hit, fumbled. which was a big play in the game and gave the Jets, shorter field. But again, Jags still in position, still in that spot where they could get the number one pick. They're right now the number. Actually, no, they're still the number one pick, I should say. Lions are number 2. So the Jets, getting the 4th victory, same as much as the other team in there that play in the same stadium as the Giants. There's some positive things with the Jets recently. Getting some more run game, seeing a lot from Michael Carter. And Zach Wilson's not looking too bad. So moving on, this is an ugly game to watch. If you're a Giants fan, hopefully this is the worst offense you'll see in your life. This is putrid. Obviously, the Eagles gave the Giants chances. They played bad as well early on and couldn't do anything. And then eventually in the second half, Eagles started playing better. And the Giants defense didn't get any help. And other than the touchdown late, the Giants didn't score anything other than the 3 points early on. And the Eagles scored 34 unanswered, I believe. Hurts. My thing with Hurts, I don't know if he's an NFL quarterback, but if they build their team around him and they play the style they are, they obviously can win games like they have been. Eagles in good position for the playoffs. They got Washington and Dallas. Not the easiest game. We'll see what Washington will have. Because, I think their season's over. I don't know what to expect, who's coming back for them or not. They obviously got slaughtered on Sunday night. But that wasn't really their starting team. I mean, there were some starters, obviously, but again, Eagles good position. Saints lost, Vikings lost, Washington lost. They're a game ahead of everyone and have the tiebreakers as well for most of those teams. And the Giants, obviously, their season's over. Daniel Jones won't come back. I would think they just, at this point, maybe they can get the run game going. I know the offensive line's so bad it affects everything they want to do. But at the last bit of the season, I would like to see Tony get some action. Paid Galladay, I obviously would like to see more from him. Maybe you want to see something from Barkley. Like, they can't do anything offensively. It's very tough. It's almost like the Panthers offense. And they have more of an excuse with some of the injuries and stuff. Moving on. Really, I'm just going to go over this game shortly. This is a snow game, obviously, if you watched it. Seahawks looked like they controlled this game. They blew it at the end of the game. Multiple chances to get at least a field goal to put the game a 2-possession game. They allowed the Bears in it. And they allowed the Bears to go down the field and get 8 points, which ended the game in Bears victory. I mean, the Seahawks still had no shot at the end. But obviously the season's over. This is Russell Wilson's second time of this year where they had a 10-point lead in the fourth and didn't come out with the victory. And he didn't have any before this year. It shows you the state of the Seahawks right now. Obviously, we'll probably discuss in the future what the future is for the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, and all that. Like, they have receivers. And you're starting to have a run game with Penny. Defense has played fairly well. I mean, give up this many to the Bears is a little bit surprising, but maybe it's the snow. Snow games are weird. Sometimes you have higher scoring games because of it, and sometimes there's no offense. And the Bears obviously controlled the clock. That was the main thing. Seattle either had very quick scoring drives or they just couldn't hold on the ball, and they would punt it away. Again, Bears with the victory, 5 wins now. Seattle with 5 wins. Seasons are over for both, and we'll see if they can maybe be upset spoilers for the next couple weeks. I'll move on this game quick. Domination by the Chiefs. Really started off touchdown, punt by the Steelers, touchdown, I believe, again. I could even be in the wrong order, but then after the second touchdown, I believe is when the interception happened from Ben Roethlisberger. on a flea flicker, and it was a bad decision. I don't think he saw the guy. I don't know why he was thrown or what happened there exactly, but other than that, Big Ben at least took care of the ball after that. There was nothing there, nothing really open. They got a garbage time touchdown. Chiefs looked good again. Offense looked better. I'd like to see the offense for the Chiefs against a team that's more healthy and more talented. We'll see them against Cincinnati. That will give us a better feeling if the offense is more back to normal or more where it's like playing better but not exactly clicking on all cylinders. Good news though, when Tyreek Hill couldn't get the ball much and you didn't have Kelsey, they still could move the ball. Pringle with a pretty big game. And the Steelers now put themselves in position to force themselves to win the next two against teams like the Browns and the Ravens. So we'll again see. Uh, they're still in position to have the first losing season under Mike Tomlin. But if they still go 8-1, they can go 9-7-1. So we'll see. Chiefs again, number one seed still. This game I was kind of wrong on. The Raiders looked at a better team. They dominated this game. Really, Derek Carr, the interception before half, allowed the Broncos, I believe, to take the lead going into half. So, other than that, the Broncos, Drew Lock at least took care of the ball, but there was nothing. They should be more explosive, should be having bigger plays. They need to score more points. They have the talent. I don't know. Pat Shurmur as offense core, I think, is okay. They couldn't run the ball for whatever reason against the Raiders, and that's a team you should be able to do that too. And the Raiders started running the ball on the Broncos. So a lot of strange things. Derek Carr played well. He had the interception on the screen. Played high completion percentage. Didn't miss throws. Finally had a run game. He, barely got the win, but they look better, even though the score looks like it was pretty close. And their seasons, Raiders are alive, but I don't expect either of these teams to make it. Moving on. Again, I'll go this quick again. Washington was not healthy. They were definitely not ready to play. Short week, COVID, injuries, whatever. Dallas dominated. Offense looked good. Prescott looked really good, but the story was the defense. They completely controlled and dominated this game. Washington couldn't do anything, really. I think they had 42 points, Cowboys at half. And they basically put Washington in position to need a lot of help and to win the next two just to get in. And I don't see that happening. Dallas still positioned to get the first seed. They are the number 2 seed right now. Again, they look good. They didn't really need much from the run game. Most of the running was when the game was over. And ugly game for Washington. This game, very low scoring, very good defenses. It was 10-3, and the only score was a pick six. Ian Book tip pass intercepted on the second career pass. Was returned for a touchdown. Tua threw a bad interception, but Saints didn't do anything with it. They just had no offense. And Book looked like a four-string quarterback, a rookie, late round pick. Not a lot to say. The Saints defense played great again. They scored offensively only 12 points in 2 games and won one of them. You could say that's a little lucky. So I can't blame the Saints defense. Dolphins defense too. They're both on the field too much. Even though I know time position is hard to both be on the field too much, but neither offense could do anything. There's more punting and stuff like that. Again, that's all the games this week. I'll talk about the games, coming up maybe on Friday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Thursday night game against. Sorry, is there no? I'm wrong. There's no Thursday week this week. So enjoy a lot of Sunday football. You got Good Monday night game as well. Let's look at the news this week before we get off. We got a rework deal from Marshawn Lattimore, probably to help their cap next year. We don't need to look at the draft order yet. You got Vitae, the former Eagle, getting a rework deal with the Lions. Rashad Breeland, we don't know if he's going to be a Cardinal or not. He's holding on the deal. Trent Baalke looks like he's going to keep his job. Now they got more injuries. The Rams have running back. At least Cam Akers probably returning, so that should help. But in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be a lot of Sonny Michel, I would think. Your fracture rib for Averett, which, we've talked about that game. That really affected the Bengals. I should have mentioned that. Garoppolo's probably not going to play this week. Looks like it's going to be Trey Lance. And make sure I don't miss anything else. Broken hand for Miles Sanders. And Matt Nagy's got to keep his job for at least the last two games. Again, appreciate you watching. Thanks, and subscribe if you enjoyed my recap of the Sunday games and Monday. Enjoy New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and goodbye.